What's going on, folks? MC here. It's about a little past midnight. I'm here on my property in PA, up in the mountains, and just enjoying myself, out here in the freedom. Got my homeboy with me, Mr. Zuko. He's doing well. I got a pretty good fire going. I don't know if you can see that. But life is good, and I figured I'd take the opportunity to make a video, because that's what I do, right? So today I wanted to talk about something I've been wanting to talk about for a while. It's something that I think people mess up very, very often, and that's me trying to be nice about it, trying to put it mildly, right? The things that people do that are not in sync with a strong mind, with a strong life, with a natural life, often are the source of many of their mishaps, many of the shortcomings, many of the obstacles that appear in their path. Oftentimes, you have people who, just want to think that everything's out to get them. They have that internal dialogue that supports that. They have that system around them, system of people that support that type of energy. But it's really I guess a universal silliness, those people that for some reason get upset when the people around them aren't dancing to the songs that are playing in their own heads, right? And it's the mindset of fairness and what we can do to strengthen that as individuals, as brothers, as sisters, husbands, wives, etc. Getting into contact with exactly what fairness is and under what conditions we should expect fairness, I think is paramount to starting to really build a strong mind, to really build that type of mindset that is based on strength, power, and congruence with the universe, right? So some people say, hey, listen, life isn't fair. I would argue that that's the wrong paradigm to take. I think it's a much stronger paradigm, a much stronger perspective to say that, life is always fair. The universe is always fair. I think when we look at it that way, we don't really look for the things that are out to get us. I think we understand that we are a blip, on the map of all that is, and if we respect our place in it, we find a way to navigate it in the most powerful way possible. So when it comes to fairness, people mistake fairness for comfort. They mistake fairness for a sort of comparative, equal adversity to their peers. It isn't fair, his family, are millionaires, ours is poor. That isn't fair. So trying to sort of equate our journey with the journey of other people is really, when you think about it, not much different in the universe's eyes from trying to compare our journey to the journey of a butterfly, to the journey of a sea turtle, to the journey of an eagle, to the journey of a salamander, to compare who we are and our journeys to other people's journeys is based in emotion, and it's really a sort of a comfort that we're looking for when we do that. This makes us uncomfortable. We perceive all of our discomfort to be caused by this, inequality, and we want to do something about it. I'm actually going to walk to a piece of my property that's got a little bit more light. So when you are talking about people who look for everything to be equal, who look for everything to sort of be handed to them to a certain extent, because, if all they do is have to observe somebody else having something, somebody else having an easy time of it, so to speak, if all they have to do is to observe it, and they suddenly think that because they've observed it, they somehow deserve it. I think, all right, bear with me, folks. I think we really see somebody who is unwilling to work for it, somebody who's unwilling to acknowledge that everybody's different, that everybody's journey is different, that their place in the universe is different from somebody else's. You know, after all, if we're looking at somebody's life and assets and benefits and networks and privileges as something that should be equal to our own, then we're really thinking that, you know, all the different variables, all the different factors that make us two distinct individuals can somehow be erased, right? And we know that isn't the case. So the way that I like to categorize or really frame out what fairness is, it's following the rules, right? Following the rules. So number one, if there are no rules, then you really have no expectation, certainly no claim on any sort of fairness. If we are playing, you know, a game of catch, and in that game of catch, I decide to throw it super fast, you know, you could say that's not fair. I could just as easily say, well, you know, you should have caught it. And there's really nothing to sort of refer back to really establish something as being fair or not. So rules really dictate fairness. So if we say that, then a lot of people say, well, what is it then that, you know, we would say makes life fair, the universe fair? You know, MC, you just said the universe is fair, life is completely fair. So to what rules are you referring? And those would be the universals, right? Those would be the things that we know always to be true, regardless of us, regardless of our thoughts, our wishes, our hopes, our dreams, regardless of our understanding or paradigm or perspective of reality itself. The universals are the universals, regardless of what anybody thinks about them. And that's the power in them. So when I start talking about, you know, getting to the point where, as a man, and I'm speaking, you know, specifically to men, but certainly this spans the spectrum of application. When I'm speaking of getting stronger, becoming mentally stronger, trying to establish your life in a stronger way, trying to sort of power up, level up, climb the ladder of strength, it is always going to be a process that is in line with getting in touch with those universals. If we look at nature, nature is unforgiving, yet completely, unconditionally providing. We've evolved as individuals, as a species, as families, ancestors, you know, as animals, as organisms, however generalized you want to get it. We've evolved as a reflection of our relationship with the universe in which we live, specifically, obviously, the earth. And to avoid that and ignore that, and not to see that as an incredible source of power, is foolishness. There is so much that we could learn, not necessarily from, you know, let's go for a nature walk. Let's hear right now. I mean, behind me is completely black woods, hundreds of acres of, I don't own them all, don't worry, hundreds of acres of woods behind me, and pitch black, and it sounds alive. It sounds like somebody's playing, you know, a nature record with an incredibly huge speaker right beyond the tree line. It's incredible. But I'm not saying, listen, go for a nature walk and, you know, all of your problems will be solved. Sometimes that might be the case. But in application, because I'm not somebody that likes to sort of stay in the abstract, to sort of tread water in the dream world, you know, we just have to think the right way and then reality will reflect what we want. I don't like to reduce, you know, my strategies to that. But when it comes to nature, usually building a relationship involves actually getting out there and doing things with nature, actually getting out there and seeing what nature has to say about, you know, the different things that you endeavor to do. If it is an incredibly, like, let's say, you know, I'm camping and the weather is incredibly terrible. Having endured that, I now have a little bit more of an understanding of, listen, I could sit here and be miserable, but there's nothing I could do about it. There's nobody who enacted this upon me. There's no consciousness that said, you know what, I'm going to screw up this dude's camping trip. And what happens is you wind up learning a sort of resilience. And I'm just, giving you an off-the-cuff example. But having these experiences and understanding that the universe as a whole is indifferent to, our individual plights is a tremendous leg up on the mindset of somebody who looks at it as, the woe is me, life isn't fair, everything's out to get me type of approach, right? If I'm looking at, what the universe has to offer, everything that is in my power will be within reach when I'm applying these principles to my life. And as important as it is to understand that, and so many, self-improvement, personalities, self-help authors and gurus, right? The G word, gurus, want to really focus on, positive self-talk, looking at everything in a positive light, not putting a negative, filter or bias on reality. And that is incredibly, incredibly valuable. I would contend that there's a flip side to it. And the flip side is understanding that there is a whole bunch of stuff in our lives that we will never be able to control. And at the drop of a hat, everything that we think is this sort of unchangeable, untouchable, invincible, structure of success can be collapsed like a house of cards in an instant, right? Because those are the rules of the universe. And should that happen, we could say a lot of things, but one of the things we cannot say is that it's not fair, right? So it is important to sort of get in control of how we look at our lives. It is important to understand that the only rules are the rules of the universe. And if we don't respect those, then we're not even playing by the rules of the game in which we've been thrust upon, right? We're here participating. We're here getting up. We're getting after it. We're playing the game. To ignore the rules is just courting, failure. And that's where I think so many people sort of get tripped up on trying to sort of establish and establish, maintain, build momentum, towards success. So many people that I've known that are the people that I look up to, the people that I really look at as being super successful, in control with these things. Tony Robbins, one of them. I have yet to meet somebody who doesn't like Tony Robbins. And I don't know how the fuck he pulled that off, right? But you look at Tony Robbins, and he's somebody who does nothing if not understand that everything can collapse at a moment's notice. Recently I heard him talk. He's giving a lot of interviews because he had done a documentary on Netflix, which I recommend. And one of the things that he was talking about that he and his wife are really focusing their philosophies on is really just looking to be happy, and fulfilled. And, the things that matter are the things that give us pleasure, that give us fulfillment, that allow us, to experience the energy of these positive states. And I found it curious. It's like, here's this guy that, multi-millionaire has talked to and helped, has been the go-to guy for some of the most, influential people in the last, 50, 60 years. And here he is at the top of his game, and he's saying, I'm just finding a way to be happy every day. And when I'm given an offer, when I encounter adversity, I ask myself, okay, is this going to make me happy? Is this going to make me unhappy? Is this going to make me angry? And it's reduced to that. And it's such a great argument for, looking at your life as just a series of interactions with these universal rules, with these universal laws, right? So the people who think life is supposed to be fair, good news, it is. But as I just went into some detail about, the life that we think is fair is the life that has a rule book that we should all be paying attention to. All right, guys, I'm going to leave you there. I'm going to get back to playing with my dog. The fire's almost out. Got to throw some more wood on it. up here in the mountains. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you guys soon. And as always, brothers and sisters, pressure to power.